Eddie, so good to see
Hi,
you again. How are you?
I'm well, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I was so lucky enough to talk with you and Jessica a couple months ago about the film, but I'm so happy to get a few minutes with you today. It's always a good day when I get Eddie minutes for 4 minutes,
Oh,
so it's all good.
well, it's
But
lovely
Eddie,
to speak.
I'll ask you something because when you're playing somebody who's real, which you've done before, seemingly somebody who we're supposed to trust. This is a healthcare worker. So
Yeah,
on the outside, you got to be normal. You got to be, I'm doing my job. But the wheels are turning in your head. I'm really a serial killer. Is this
yeah.
one of the most challenging roles that you've had to do in that sense?
Do you know what? It was a challenge, but that's what we dream of as actors. You know, the challenges are the things that get us up in the morning and keep us inspired and trying to work harder and do more interesting things. What was it? The great insight for me about this character was from the real Amy Lochran, who I got to spend time with before we filmed, and she described him as having a dissociative personality. She said it was two different people.
Right.
There was a kind, gentle, empathetic, funny, self-deprecating man who saved her life, and
Yeah.
then there was this other man, and she described how something glazed over his eyes, and this arrogance and truculence, and it was a different human being, and her complexity with her relationship to this day with him is so extraordinary. But what that allowed was for me to really believe in two different characters almost, and the flash of that reveal. And so it meant that I could really invest in the truth of the friendship with Jessica's character. And if Tobias, our director, wanted to create tension or find other things in moments, I was giving as much as I could, but that was for him to do rather than for me to force.
Yeah, understood. Okay, we need to talk about the interrogation scene because to me, I cannot stop thinking about that. You're in this room with no Emmerich, you're doing this, and the switch just flips. Can you take me back to doing that scene and how many takes did it, knowing you once, probably.
No, definitely. Very generous. No, it was a whole day of shooting. They were one of the wonderful things about our director Tobias Lindholm is he would allow long takes, so there'd be 10, 11 minutes, so you didn't have to reach the intensity quickly. The extraordinary thing about that scene is it was based on truth. I had the video footage of that scene. I had, verbatim the transcription of what he said, and of course, Christy condensed it beautifully, our writer. But there was also a moment that happened after our film in which Charlie was in court and he was being given a predicament by the judge, and many of the victims' families were there, and he just started shouting this mantra, repeating to the judge about the judge's ineptitude, and he shouted it so violently and continuously and wouldn't be shut up that he ended up being gagged and bound in court. And that monster was something that we needed to see. And but what was interesting in the scene itself was when I arrived to shoot it, I didn't realize I was going to have one wrist chained to the desk. It was something the director had put in. And I had been kept away from the actors Noah and Namdi, so I'd not really met them before. And it was an interesting sort of power game, really. And I ended up using the banging sound of the thing to try and disrupt their train of thought, as it were. And that was the way into the fury, I think.
Unbelievable. Well, like I said, you're so brilliant in everything you do. It was exactly 10 years ago today. We sat down and talked about Les Mis, and we've talked so many times
Really?
since. And I just
10
wanted
years
you,
ago today.
yeah,
Oh,
10 years today. My Facebook told me that, so
that is
I have to go by that.
amazing. That
But
is
you
so
need
amazing.
to do another musical is all I have to tell you, Eddie.
Wow.
You really
Well,
do
I just
for me.
did one on stage in
I
London.
know.
So, yeah. So, who knows? One day.
Yeah. All right. Well, fingers crossed. We will see you at
Thank
the
you.
Critics' Choice Awards for sure, and we'll talk
I
in
don't know
person
about
there.
that.
Always lovely
Lovely.
seeing you, Eddie. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.